Hey, Alexis.
What's up,
How you doing?
guys?
Rudkowski, WRC.
I'm Alexis.
Pleasure. I just wanted to know more about your book,
Sure.
and can you tell us more about it?
Without Their Permission is a book that I wrote pretty much in the middle of the SOPA PIPA fight because I realized if we were having these conversations at the highest levels of government that we're so ignorant about the internet, a lot of people need to be corrected, educated about why it's so important. And, you know, getting the chance to meet how many, 77 universities worth of students who are the ones right now who are going to create the things that are going to make Reddit and Hitmonk look like nothing in the next 8 years and hopefully inspire them it was a lot of fun. So yeah, the book is everything I wish I'd had when I was in school.
What are your thoughts on SOPA and PIPA?
These days, I mean, well, the good news is those two were defeated, right? Thanks to millions of Americans who called and wrote and did all those things. But now, you know, it's net neutrality, right? It's making sure, like I said on stage, you know, it's in the FCC's hands right now to make sure that they enforce the internet as a common carrier, as the utility we all know it is. And then there's still threats like the Trans-Pacific Partnership. There's still NSA surveillance, right? There's no shortage of things that we still have to be vigilant about. But like, I think I always come back to the fact that like what made what made defeating SOPA and PIPA successful was that people, right? Like Americans called up and said, hey, we don't want this. And they actually got 2 bad bills stopped.
Yeah. The fight for internet freedom is really important. I think Reddit exemplifies that very well with its user-based community. But there was one issue that I would like for you to clear up with the WikiLeaks Stratford things that came out. Yeah. I was wondering, what made you want to work for an organization like Stratford?
All right, well, real quick. My favorite, I think one of the things I love about the internet, and you know, when that came out, I went full transparency. I screenshotted my entire inbox, even emails that hadn't been leaked, just to show with 100%, you know, beyond any doubt, that I hadn't done anything that I was being accused of. Yeah. So what made me want to work for it? I was living in Armenia for 3 months. I left Reddit to go volunteer there, and there's no coverage of the Caucasus, whether it's Azerbaijan, Georgia, Armenia. And because I was living there, I wanted to know what was going on in the world, especially where I was. So I signed up for Stratfor. I was really impressed by the intelligence briefings I got because, you know, when you're next to Iran, like it's nice to know if they're moving missiles. And I think I was on Bloomberg TV. I mean, I wrote about all this online, but to reiterate, I was on Bloomberg in the green room, met, I think it was the founder of Stratfor, and he invited me the next time I was in Austin. So when I was in Austin for South by a couple years ago, I took them up on the offer, talked to them about all things Armenia, and they were looking for insights into social media, and I told them.
What are your thoughts about Stratford spying on activists and selling their information to big corporations and government, and then also colluding with governments to set up journalists as terrorists because they're against the state?
Well, how would anyone feel about that? I mean, all of the, you know, this was 2000 and, let's see, I volunteered for Kiva in 2010. This was before all the WikiLeaks revelations. And so at the time, what I knew was Stratfor is the best intelligence I can get about a country in the middle of a war zone where I was living. So I was grateful for that knowledge. Obviously, I have no relationship with Stratfor since. So, you know, I think based on the data that I know about what they've done, there's a lot of really deplorable stuff in there. But at the time, all I knew was here was a company that is telling me whether or not there are going to be missiles moving next door to me.
Now, a lot of people have accused Reddit of banning articles about the Stratford leak. Can you tell us more about that, and is that really true?
Preposterous. I mean, the number one
RT.com was taken down, and then...
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
The number one voted post on our conspiracy about that was my comment doing the full transparency was the top voted one. So I take it I think it's pretty clear that there wasn't, I mean, like I said, the number one post in our conspiracy about that was my comments clearing it up unequivocally. So, I mean, you know, a moderator of any subreddit, there are hundreds of thousands of subreddits. Those moderators, it's at like any forum, have the discretion to submit or to stop one link or another from going online. And we saw this happen early on. You know, one of the first subreddits we saw this happen to was Our Marijuana. This was 8 years ago, right? Maybe 7 years ago. moderators started doing things people didn't like, and so everyone said, you know what, this sucks. We're going to start a new subreddit called R-Trees. Now R-Trees is, I think, the largest. So, when you build a platform that robust, it's like a WordPress blog, right? Someone can go and create another one if they don't like the way the mods are running it, and the system happens to be, pretty flexible. So that's kind of how it was designed.
Yeah, but people are asking why RT.com was taken off the news segment, which was the major...
Well, that's a question for the moderators of our news, right? Just like if your favorite WordPress blogger is no longer submitting posts to RT.com, you would ask that WordPress blogger. Likewise, you'd ask the moderators of the sub. And like the advice I always give is, look, we built the system, a platform for online communities to be robust. So if our news is not delivering on its offer to those subscribers, the result will be someone else creating another one, right? Just like they did with our trees and our marijuana before that.
It's a very unique environment out there. The freedom for it is very important. I'm happy you clarified that, and we're open and transparent. And thank you for your time. I really appreciate that. Thank you, Alexis.
Very welcome.
Leading up to the shutdown, I was having trouble sleeping. I was always worried about it. There was this threat of arrest hanging over my head.
And he, in part, of course, succumbed to that struggle. One of the roles that I played over the last few days is to try to take all the outrage at Aaron's death and desire to make it something meaningful